Yesterday was my mother's birthday. Now, last year on her birthday, I uploaded a video that was kind of a birthday present to her, like I did with my dad, and it contained a clip from 30 Rock in it, so NBC Universal blocked it on YouTube, and I had to take it down. And I wanted to try and again do something like that this year for her birthday, and I know that there's nothing she would like more than for Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan to defeat Barack Obama and Joe Biden in the presidential election this year. So with that in mind, and with an eye towards tonight's presidential debate, I really think that Mitt Romney can put it away tonight. I think that if Mitt Romney wins this debate, then this race is over. He will be elected president. That is a high hurdle to clear, but I had some ideas that I thought could help him, and I just couldn't live with myself if I didn't put them out there on the air. I don't know whether Mitt Romney or anybody from his campaign will watch this video in time, but I just thought I had some good ideas and wanted to at least put them out there. So here's what I've got. You probably heard references to Obama not mentioning Romney's remarks that were caught on tape at that fundraiser in Florida in May, specifically the thing about 47% of Americans were expecting he's going to try and bring that up tonight. I'm sure Romney and his campaign are anticipating that. They've already prepared for this, no doubt, and I've heard commentators offering him all sorts of advice on what he should say, how he should deal with that subject. None of the advice I've heard them offer is good, and I'm sure Mitt Romney probably has already thought of how he's going to handle that. I just had an idea. What I think he should do is first remind everyone that these are out-of-context remarks taken from an edited video. We still do not have the entire tape of what Mitt Romney said at that fundraiser. But beyond that, I would just tell voters, look, if there is any doubt that as president, I would faithfully serve 100% of the American people, then just look at my record. Look at how I've lived my life and how I govern. When I ran for governor of Massachusetts, I got 50% of the vote. Half the state didn't vote for me. But from the moment I was sworn in until the day I left office, I governed as a servant of 100% of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I worked with a Democratic state legislature to cut taxes, balance our budget, reform our state's health care system, and the results, we went from dead last in the country in job creation all the way up to 28th. There were nearly 50,000 more people employed in Massachusetts when I left office than there had been when I came in. Household incomes rose. Under this president, household median income has gone down by $5,000. Business confidence was up, and our credit rating was upgraded, and our school system was ranked first in the nation. That's leadership. That's how I govern. So you can look at how I've lived my life to understand what kind of a president I would be. And if he feels that it's appropriate, then he could mention, because I think contrast is going to be very important in this debate. That's what people saw in the last debate. You contrast Mitt Romney against Barack Obama, and you see Romney is a leader, Obama is a politician. You could also throw in, when he's talking about his record as Massachusetts governor, that he has actually done what President Obama just talks about doing. But this is significant. If he senses that the moment is right, then he should say, you can contrast that, how I governed as governor of Massachusetts, with this president's approach to governance, which is, in his own words, he said, we're going to reward our friends and we're going to punish our enemies. That's not an approach that is conducive to bipartisan cooperation, and that is not the attitude of someone who is really interested in getting things done. I worked with a state legislature that was composed mostly of people who didn't particularly like me, who weren't exactly happy that I got elected, but I was able to forge a close working relationship with them because I always had the best interests of the people of Massachusetts at heart. By the way, if Obama comes back at him and says, that's not what I said, or tries to, say, well, that's not what I was talking about, some lame excuse, because he did say those words, but he was allegedly just talking to his supporters about what he wanted them to do, then I hope he does that, because then that just gives Mitt Romney an opportunity to come back and say, Mr. President, I'm sorry. You were talking to your supporters and just trying to rile them up when you said that. You see how annoying it is when someone takes your words out of context to try and convince people you're someone you're not? I hope Mitt Romney gets that opportunity, because the Obama campaign's entire strategy for victory this election hinges on the American people believing that Mitt Romney is this caricature that the Obama campaign and their leftist allies have worked so hard to create. It's an illusion. This elaborate facade that they worked so hard to build up started to crack during the Republican National Convention. It began to crumble with the debate the week before last in Denver. I think we could finally demolish that facade this final stretch of the campaign if Mitt Romney acquits himself well in this coming debate. I do want to mention that on the tax issue, one thing I noticed that he did not say in last week's debate, I thought maybe he was keeping this arrow in his quiver to use in a future debate. I do hope he says, when the subject gets around to taxes, let's get one thing straight. There is only one person on this stage who has raised taxes on the middle class, and that's President Obama. Now, if Obama tries to come back at him and say that if my individual mandate in our health care law was a tax, then what you did in Massachusetts was a tax, then Mitt Romney ought to come back at him and say, no, Mr. President. See, our state constitution in Massachusetts allowed us to regulate commerce within our state. We could mandate that people purchase insurance. You did not have that authority under the Commerce Clause, and that's why you sent your Solicitor General to the Supreme Court to argue that the individual mandate is constitutional because it is a tax. And the Supreme Court agreed. The majority of justices said this is a tax. It is not constitutional except that it is a tax. There is just a knockout blow on each one of these perceived strengths, these bullets that Obama can shoot at him. There's a knockout blow just waiting to be delivered. On the auto industry bailout, I talked about that last week. I think that it is very important that Mitt Romney nail Barack Obama on this other lie he's been telling throughout the campaign, that they extended the life of the Medicare trust fund by 8 years. I explained that in a previous video, but what Mitt Romney has to say is, I want to make one thing absolutely clear for everyone watching here tonight. Obamacare did not lengthen the life of the Medicare trust fund. Not by 8 years, not by 1 year, not by 1 day. The $716 billion that Obamacare cut out of Medicare was not used to shore up the trust fund. It was used to pay for the other provisions in Obamacare so that the president and all his Democratic colleagues who supported the bill could tell people that Obamacare did not add to the deficit. So that's what they did. They took $716 billion out of Medicare, didn't use it to extend the life of the trust fund. They used it to pay for Obamacare. And if he has time, then he can add that when Republicans in the House passed a budget that restored that $716 billion, that put that $716 billion back in the trust fund, President Obama attacked that budget as thinly veiled social Darwinism. Just hit him on that. Okay, that's all I have. Also, I mentioned the auto bailout. I think that two-sentence, airtight argument, if Obama tries to, again, repeat this lie that he rescued the auto industry, then just use that argument. If the purpose of the bailout was to prevent General Motors and Chrysler from going bankrupt, then it was a failure. And if it was to save the auto industry and prevent them from going out of business permanently, then it was unnecessary. It's an airtight argument. So that's it. And until next time, don't mess with the right-wing genius.